Well, hello, blog followers. Yes, I have come back from my month-long hiatus of having fallen off the earth and progressively climbed back up on it with some semblance of sanity. It has been a good month since I posted a video. Posted some poems, which thank you for the support on Facebook that I've been seeing with followers and also new people that have been checking out my posts. I really appreciate it. I have been sick and kind of an insomniac for the past month, hence the fact that it looks like a dump truck has been riding and making inroads under my eyes. So yes, it has been quite a month, but that brings me to this video. I like to think that nothing's ever wasted, even including kind of intense months of job transition and moves and that turn of the season kind of illness that a lot of people have been having. I have a lot of friends who have colds right now. And but I like to think that no time is wasted. And if all of that was what brought me to this weekend, then it was worth it. This weekend, my roommate is out of town. So it's been the first stretch of 2 or 3 days at a time that I'm not working and that I am just free to have the house to myself. I recently moved to a new place here in the Dallas Metroplex about 3 weeks ago. And this was really my first weekend and just take a deep breath from everything I've been describing and just kind of release it. I call it my introvert time mainly because it's been constant stimulation for me for a month now, and I generally get overtaxed without even realizing it. I think introverts can often get their introvert tank gets full and then they kind of run on adrenaline, they kind of run on maximum overdrive without even realizing it. And so my soul has really just, not to sound too cheesy, but has just immersed itself in this cocoon of tea and Netflix binging and reading and singing and just a bunch of things that really calm me down and bless my heart and make me feel alive, and all done almost complete isolation, and that has been the best thing. I know it probably sounds like I have become a temporary hermit. I will emerge from my cave, but for now, it's just been an amazing time of just being able to soak in a lot of things that you often don't allow to rise to the surface. I've learned a lot about busyness lately, not just because I have been so busy, but I've learned, and I don't think this is just for my personality either. I think busyness, if we let it, can often be a distraction where there are a lot of things inside of us in terms of our emotions, our psychological state, our mental state, our spiritual state especially can take a huge hit in times of busyness. And so carving out and crafting, creating space, a safe space to just allow whatever to come up in me time or alone time or introvert time, whatever you want to call it specifically. The value of letting those things come up and just having that, making space to just breathe and live and not go about the activities of living, but just breathe and acknowledge your consciousness and your place kind of in the world right now where you are in your small corner of it. And so all that to say, this weekend has been incredible, and strangely enough, when you're by yourself, your focus can tend to turn a bit inwards. And I was realizing just a couple of things that I want to share. And again, this post is like all my other videos, in the sense that it's kind of off the cuff, kind of spontaneous. I do that on purpose in the sense that I want this to be like a conversation. Yes, a one-sided conversation, I admit. You call that a monologue, I guess, for all of my literary fans out there. But in the sense that it's just sharing from my heart to yours without a script and without a lot of fancy camera work. Just the idea that just being human as I claim to be in my title, Human Girl. So basically, I have been realizing I have kind of fallen into a funk. And it's been easy to do that with feeling sick, being overwhelmed, being stressed about money or budgeting, changing jobs, moving. I did almost all that by myself. And I was realizing that I had fallen into this funk of depression and isolating is a huge Achilles heel for me. It's the thing I struggle with the most, not asking for help. I mentioned I had done most of those big things, big life transitions on my own, and that was a lot because I just chose not to ask for a lot of help or advice. I just kind of go at things my own way and just forge through them. And just, I like to, kind of, in some ways, a loner in the sense that I like to just do things and not bring other people into it, which is isolating myself in a lot of different ways, and that can lead to my depression. And so I was wondering, I was questioning myself as the days are rolling by, and I feel like inwardly I'm falling deeper and deeper and deeper into this funk that I had thought I had climbed out of. And it occurred to me, just this idea this weekend, as I had time to be by myself, as I was conscious of myself and of my aloneness, so to speak, how much self-centeredness and like focusing on yourself is so key to depression. Now, depression is a horrible thing. It is extremely difficult to live with, and there is no judgment at all on people who struggle with depression. And it's multifaceted. It's something that includes your chemical balances in the brain. It includes what you've been through in the past. It includes a lot of different things. So this is just one element. I don't want to be known as saying depression is self-centeredness. That is not all what I'm saying. But there is, at least for me in my journey through it, I have discovered that key to staying in a depressed state is just part of the course, just part of the nature of depression, is that it is very self-focused. And so I had been realizing that we live in a really self-centered culture. I'm not saying anything new here. I think we all know that. We live in the selfie generation, for one thing. I mean, I can just stop there, because that in itself, I think the vision of someone taking a selfie is kind of a statement of our culture. You kind of don't need to say much else. We kind of do live in a bit of a self-centered me culture. And so, but how that relates to our individual lives is, I think that for instance, I'll just speak for myself. I start my day with myself, I go through it with myself, and I end it with myself. And I was realizing today, this afternoon, that it's me. It's me all the time. It's me in the morning. What do I want? What am I thinking? What are my goals? What is my vision? What is my purpose for the day? What do I want to do? How do I want to feel? How do I want to look? And yes, you need to make decisions around it's just natural, especially when you're single, you don't have, a spouse or kids or whatever. So I'm just living that life, and so everything kind of does revolve around me in the sense that I am living the single life, not married and with no family of my own. And so, but I was realizing how me saturated my life is, and that when I'm driving home, I'm thinking about myself. When I'm in bed, I'm thinking about how I'm feeling and how I'm doing, and there's a difference I'm realizing between healthy self-reflection and self-awareness and weekends like this I'm taking the time to dig a little deeper into my psyche, so to speak, and just feel refreshed, and also to have some good self-reflection that's healthy. But there's a difference between that and just being me focused all the time. And so just some thoughts about the fact that it is a powerful thing to be able to separate those two, to be able to separate healthy self-reflection that leads to action. So like if I reflect on the fact that I have become very self-centered, I can take action based on that, and I can start implementing different things in my life, whether that be actively devoting a lot of my efforts and energy activities to other people to try to direct my mind to a different place, whether that means meditating on, the Bible or something else like that, whatever gets my thoughts more off the me train and more on the general other people's focused, or other, the things I'm working on, can only benefit. But there's a difference between that kind of self-reflection that leads to action and the kind of just me obsessed living that just keeps you swirling around in the same kind of funk of me this, me this, me this, me this, and it doesn't lead to action of any productive nature. It just leads to a self-centered kind of living. And so I was realizing that there is a difference between the two, and to be able to tell the difference does require some self-awareness. But it's just an encouragement to anyone, who likes to use the word self-care or self-awareness, because I throw around those words a lot, and I'm realizing that that there is a difference between living a very kind of navel staring lifestyle and then also just taking those moments to really reflect and then go back into the world with a renewed sense of clarity and vision and purpose, but not the same as just living that self-focused lifestyle. And it's mainly applicable to our culture. I mean, this is the only one I've ever lived in, so I can only speak for our mainstream American culture. It is so saturated with that idea of even the American dream is all about that. It's like it's all about the personal self-fulfillment and enrichment, and which can lead to things like materialism or whatever. And not that overall those values are wrong, but just this in the nature, just an awareness of how our culture impacts us as well. The media and the kind of music we listen to, it's all about how people make us feel. If you listen to love songs today, it's all about she makes me feel this or he makes me feel this. Or if you watch any kind of romantic comedy or anything like that, the nature of love and relationships is all self-centered. It's how you make me feel, how you make me, what you do for me, and that's why I like you. And human beings are naturally selfish, so I think that culture just picks up on that and amplifies it. But just the idea that it's a cultural thing that can rub off on us in ways that we need to be aware of, and just also the difference between healthy self-reflection and then just living basically selfish. And so just some random thoughts for you guys about that, but I'm glad to be back, and I hope to talk to y'all again soon.